Well, we knew Universal Studios was going to leak out some more information about the Dark Universe, and it looks like today they did come out with more details about this land. So we're going to go through the article that was released from Discover Universal blog and also check out a little bit of the video they released to see some details that we can tell from this land. I'm Jared with Capture the Magic, and let's just get right into this. Now, Dark Universe is a land. I'm not going to act like I was really excited about this land before Epic Universe was announced, but the more that I've watched the construction progress and the more the things that have come out about this land, I'm actually looking forward to this. I think it's kind of a really cool idea and potentially could be one of those, dark horse contenders for one of the better lands in this park. And everything I'm seeing so far, I really like the idea of it. But let's jump into this article. So what we'll do is go through this article, and then we'll also go through the video because they have a little bit of more concept art in the video, but we'll do this in a very concise fashion. So let's get right into right into the article here. And right away here, we've got some concept art showing one of the broken, we know there's these broken gateways when you walk in. This is right when you enter into the village, I believe, of some more things here. If we can see the manor in the background and a very ominous look to this land. So it says here, whether you identify as a monster kid or not, Dark Universe promises pulse-pounding thrills, mysteries shrouded in shadow, and eerily immersive world to explore. They go on a little bit descriptive things there. So they say, welcome to Darkmoor, which we did learn from the Epic Universe Preview Center that this is what the village name would be. And we have some more concept art here. This looks like the crypt, perhaps over in the queue for the Dark Manor attraction, perhaps, if I'm looking at that correctly from the construction that I've been looking at. So it says guests will enter the Dark Universe from Celestial Park via an appropriately foreboding portal, which we're going to check out. They have some cool shots of the entrance portal to this. On top of the portal, a coil will crackle with electricity representing the eternal struggle of science against death. Says once guests make their way through the cemetery, they will find themselves in the village proper, where misbegotten scientific experiments scar the land and unnatural creations lurk in the shadows. This is Darkmoor, home to monsters, monster makers, monster hunters, and the welcoming villagers who are just trying to survive. So survive the monsters, in case that wasn't clear. Quote, we created a village and a world beyond it where not only can these stories come together, but new stories can come in as well, explains Pete Carcillo, Senior Creative Director for Dark Universe. Now you're in the same place where all those stories come together, but it's the current day. They go on to say, what to ride in Dark Universe. Dark Universe is home to 2 attractions alongside meet and greets with some of Darkmoor's most infamous inhabitants. Since the world of Darkmoor exists in the present day, that's interesting. That means there's a new Frankenstein in town and you're about to meet her. Now, that is an interesting tidbit because I was presuming that this was, I believe Frankenstein was 1600, 1700, something along those. I know it's way in the past. So this apparently is happening in present day, which is an interesting wrinkle to the land here. So the first ride they have is Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment, which we've known about this ride. This is the Dark Manor. This is like the main attraction in the land here. It says looming in the distance over the village of Darkmoor is Frankenstein Manor. Deep below this decrepit estate, guests will experience Dark Universe's thrilling dark ride, Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment. And they have a link in here so we can see. They actually have some stuff on the website here. Looks like height requirement is 48 inches. It is a thrill motion simulator. We do know this uses the Kuka arm technology, very much like Wizarding World with Forbidden Journey. Same idea of how this one will work. It says here, in Monsters Unchained, the Frankenstein Experiment, Dr. Victoria Frankenstein continues the work of her ancestors to deep below the family estate. A demonstration of her experiments to control monsters goes awry when Dracula leads a revolt of enraged monsters, including the Wolfman, the Mummy, the creature from the Black Lagoon, and more. And here's some more concept art that they have released with that. Also says the Phantom of the Opera's organ within the Monsters Unchained. The Frankenstein Experiment features 14 individual flame points that shoot vertical flames over 3 feet in the air and dance in synchronicity with the organ music. All right, it goes on to say Dr. Victoria Frankenstein, Henry's great-great-great-granddaughter, resides in the manor, and she's inviting you to witness her latest experiment. Victoria has already brought her own creature back from the dead, and now she's seeking to rehabilitate all the monsters that are plaguing the village and restore her family name to glory. It says, don't let Victoria hear you referring to her creation as Frankenstein's monster. She doesn't see him as a monster, Not to mention, it's just impolite. As Victoria's guest, you will witness her attempt to tame the most dangerous monster of all, Dracula, which backfires. Chaos erupts as you're pursued deeper and deeper into the catacombs by a rogues gallery of universal monsters. They also say here, we see a maniacal side of her, even though she's our hero, says Greg Hall, Dark Universe's creative director. The monsters are released, and it's up to her, Frankenstein, and Igor to help you save the day while we're stuck in the middle of this chaos. Racing through the darkness, you'll come across all the monsters who have been subjected to Victoria's experiments, including the Brides of Dracula, the creature from the Black Lagoon, the Wolfman, the Mummy, and the Phantom of the Opera. As you witness the results of Victoria's unnatural experiments, you'll have to confront a question: who's really the monster here? They also say, what I want guests to say is, that was one of the scariest things I've ever done in my life, and you have to try it, says Greg. It's hard to scare people these days. We want to make sure they have fun and they see something they'll never forget. Sounds very interesting. They also have Curse of the Werewolf coaster, which we've known about this one, but this is some cool concept art here. Now, this was the spinning coaster, not exactly like Guardians of the Galaxy, but similar how the cars will spin. It says, deep in the woods that border the village of Darkmoor, you'll find Dark Universe's other attraction, Curse of the Werewolf. This family spinning coaster can be found in the colorful encampment of the Guild of Mystics. Maliva, the guild's all-knowing seer and leader, will warn visitors that they bear the mark of the werewolf. While Maliva does make an appearance in the 1941 film The Wolfman, her Dark Universe version is updated to reflect the fictional culture of the Guild of Mystics, which is rich with beauty, violence, and of course, werewolves. And they go on to talk about meet and greets here. It says, if you're like me and you're more likely to run screaming happily toward a monster than run screaming terrified away from one, you're in luck. There are plenty of close encounters to be had in Dark Universe. Some of the iconic Universal Monsters characters you can meet in Darkmoor include Frankenstein's monster, the Bride of Frankenstein, Igor, and the Invisible Man. I don't know how you meet an invisible man, but that sounds interesting. In addition, you might encounter one of the hounds, monster hunters, who have set up shop in the Burning Blade Tavern and attempt to defend the village of Darkmoor. A roaming musician will also wander the village, serenading guests with eerie tunes of old. Assuming that's what this one is right here. I like more streetmosphere type things, so I think that's a very cool aspect to this. And there's a link here that says that say hello to the residents of Darkmoor Village. Meet some of the monsters of Dark Universe. Let's see if it says anything different from what they kind of already said. It doesn't really do that. They do have some pictures of the Frankenstein meet and greet here and some other residents that may wander around. It seems like they're going to have characters wandering around interacting, which I really like that idea. That is something that I've said for a long time many of the parks lack. So I think that's a very cool aspect here. And then we have some concept art here showing like you can get into the coffins. It looks like this is the area when you enter the village and looks like you can take pictures like standing inside the coffins, which is pretty cool. All right, they go on to say where to eat in Dark Universe. It says by now you've surely clocked the incredible attention to detail that the creative team has put into Dark Universe, and the dining locations found in Darkmoor are no exceptions. We have Das Steakhouse. Now that looks really cool. Deep under Darkmoor, swarms of vampires make their homes in the ancient catacombs. Located atop these catacombs is Das Steakhouse, a fast casual restaurant lorded over by the servants of said vampires. Classical artwork and relics hint at the dark opulence of vampiric culture. At Das Steakhouse, you can enjoy kebabs, burgers, sandwiches, and ribs, along with other offerings. And as for what the vampires are dining on, well, you may want to wear a turtleneck to this meal. We also have the Burning Blade Tavern, which we have known about in the construction. We've been keeping up on this. Says many years ago, an angry mob of villagers torched the old mill during the infamous Frankenstein incident. Now the mill has become the favorite hangout of Darkmoor's monster hunters. In addition to grabbing some tavern fare, guests can pursue the hunters' trophies and hear tales from some of the village's most esteemed and darkly quirky residents. But why is it called the Burning Blade Tavern? It says, I'm glad you asked. The mill that stands atop this restaurant erupts into flames every 20 minutes. So if you prefer your bratwurst extra crispy, it won't be an issue. Okay, so that answers our question. I kind of all said all along, I figured it might be very much like the dragon over at Green Gots in the Diagon Alley, where that one goes off every 10 minutes. This one looks like it's every 20 minutes. I think that's going to be pretty cool, especially at night. That's going to look really awesome. They also said the windmill at the top of the Burning Blade Tavern erupts into flames several times an hour. Two types of fuel are used in different ratios, allowing for easy visibility to guests during both day and night. Very interesting. All right, moving on here. It says where to shop in Dark Universe. It says there's no shortage of story in Dark Universe, and visitors to Darkmoor can continue to unravel that dark tapestry as they pursue the world's merchandise. It says Darkmoor Monster Makeup Experience. Here, monster makers have converted Dr. Septimus Pretorius' old lab into a parlor where visitors can let their inner monster shine. It says, quote, if you want to be a monster, you can actually be made up like a monster. Or if you want to be a little more meta, you can come in and get your whole family covered up in temporary tattoos. In Dark Universe, you can walk around with temporary tattoos on when you're 5. That's now we this when it debuted, it seemed like the one that has debuted again, like they said over the horror makeup show, that maybe it was a test run for this. But I liked it. Now we don't know if this is going to stay in over there at horror makeup show, but it's definitely coming to Dark Universe, which is very cool. And then they go on to say what to expect at opening. Now, I'm sure there'll be more shopping, by the way. I mean, they didn't really say anything specifically about the shopping, but I'm sure there'll be plenty of opportunities for shopping. So that's pretty good details here in this article about what is coming in here to Dark Universe. Let's look over on the video real quick and see if there's anything that sticks out there that we didn't get in the article. Now, this is a cool shot showing the Dark Manor. They didn't really talk about it much in the article, but in the concept art, or at least the video here, that looks like it will be crackling with energy, much like the entrance portal. And we get another look here at sort of how it looks, which again, I think this whole building looks really cool. And I'm curious if they're going to be able to, like, the lightning, if that's going to be something that is actually going to be something that they're able to pull off at night. That's an interesting. I mean, it could just be for concept art, but if they can do that, that would look very awesome.
Monsters Unchained has the most technologically advanced animated figures that have ever been built. They are visceral, they are powerful, they are intense.
The technology we are using is cutting edge.
We literally use every technology I could possibly think of. And then we realized we needed to invent new technology.
The most technologically advanced animated figures that we've ever built. I'm assuming that means animatronic. Now, I have heard, we did know at least that this was going to be animatronics and not as much screen based, which I do like about Epic Universe. If you noticed, Mario Kart is a screen based ride, but outside of that, I'm not really sure what else is screen based. Most of this is animatronics and just, you're outside or you're actually on a moving thing. So one of the gripes that people have had or complaints about Universal Studios in the past is a lot of screen-based attractions. Definitely seems like they are not doing that as much with Epic Universe. I mean, all in all, I was already excited about this land. I'm even more excited about it now. There's some interesting tidbits that they did announce, that the fact that it's modern day. This isn't taking place in the past, so it's updated versions of the classic Universal monsters. I think it opens them up to a lot of things that they could do in here. I've often wondered, they have Halloween Horror Nights. I've often wondered over here at Epic Universe if they do some sort of more family friendly Halloween type party, sort of like what, Disney World does, or Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party, that they could do some type of Halloween event that isn't as scary as Halloween Horror Nights, but is more family friendly, that could potentially, draw people away from Mickey's Not So Scary type events. But I think it's definitely taking on more of a family-friendly vibe, which I think is a smart move. It seems like it'll be at times scary, but maybe not too scary. Maybe seems to me more of a fun, scary type thing. But some of the rides in here, obviously, I don't think our kids are the age for this, but I think if you've got kids that are like 10, 12, 13 years old and older, they would really get a kick out of this. But a lot of this, I think, it looks cool. The aesthetic of this, I think, looks great. The manor, if the manor looks at all like it does in the concept art and some of the images in the video that they showed in this, I think that will look amazing in terms of, if it's got lightning and the cackling of it and the entrance portal to the whole land. I think it has a lot of potential. It sounds really cool. I think this is one, again, I think it's going to be one of those where a lot of people maybe weren't expecting a lot out of this land, because there's some people that were saying, well, nobody was asking for classic monsters. And to a degree, I would agree with that. But I think the take in which they're doing with this, they're taking, these old classic monster franchises, updating them, and who knows, maybe they may be looking at doing a monsters movies. I know they tried that a few years ago to kind of relaunch that with think it was the Mummy one with Tom Cruise. I don't think it went very well, but they could be looking at doing something like that, or they, maybe it just stays as it is. But I think it's a cool idea. I think the aesthetic looks really cool, and I'm looking forward to it. So I'm excited about this. We've gotten sneak previews of a bunch of the lands here. We've had Celestial Park, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon. Now we have Dark Universe. So the last land that they have left to give us more details about is the Wizarding World Ministry of Magic, which I think the big question there is, what is the ride that is in that land? We still don't know anything about it. Having checked out the Epic Universe Preview Center, that building that it's going to be at on the model is huge, is massive. So it seems like it is a very big ride. So like I talked about in the video the other day, it seems like Epic Universe is going to open early in 2025. So I would assume we would get some sort of preview video about Harry Potter maybe by the end of the summer, maybe early fall. I don't know, or it could be sooner. Who knows? They don't really have a specific timeline of these videos. But that's going to do it for this video. So if you like this video, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, as we will be doing more news updates as in terms to not only Epic Universe, but Disney World, theme parks, and other things of that nature. And let us know in the comments, are you more excited for Dark Universe? Are you less excited, or do you still not care, or anything like that? Let us know what you think. And until next time, we will see you in the parks.